All right, so I'd like to take a look at a program example from chapter 4. This is the decision structures and Boolean logic chapter. So we're going to do some if statements. And I want to take a look at this particular programming exercise, the color mixer. Okay. Again, this is from the 3rd edition of the Gaddis Programming Logic and Design book. It's the 3rd edition, page 167. So the color mixer problem is this. The colors red, blue, and yellow are known as primary colors because they cannot be made by mixing other colors. And when you mix two primary colors, you get a secondary color as shown here. So most of us learned this in elementary school. When you mix red and blue, you get purple. When you mix red and yellow, you get orange. When you mix blue and yellow, you get green. Design a program that prompts the user to enter the names of two primary colors to mix. If the user enters anything other than red, blue, or yellow, the program should display an error message. Otherwise, the program should display the name of the secondary color that results. All right, so let's take a look and see how to do this. And since we know about modular programming and stuff now, I'd like to incorporate that as well. So let's go over here, let's start up Raptor. Okay, and again, we are in intermediate mode on the mode. And so we need a few variables. Let's put in a couple of assignment statements here. We're going to need maybe color 1 and color 2. So I'm going to say set color 1 to, and if it's a string, so these are going to be strings and not numbers or something like that, I'm going to initialize it to the null string, which is just, you just put two double quotes. And the same thing on color 2. Color 2, set that to the null string. Let's make sure that works. All right, good. All right, so the next thing we need to do is get the colors from the user. So again, this might be a good candidate for a separate module. So I'm going to right click on main and choose add procedure. Add procedure. And so I'll just name this something like get input. And I'm going to send in color 1 and color 2. Make sure you pass those in for input and output. You have to check the output box. Okay, and now over in our get input module, we are going to put in a couple of input statements. So the first one, I'll say something like, the prompt will be something like, enter a color about something like enter your first color and store that into color 1. And the same thing on the second one. Enter your second color. Store that into color 2. All right, so we've got that, and let's save that. I'll save this as color mixer. And back in main, I'll put in a call to that. So I'll call get input. We're going to send in color 1 and color 2. And now I can type in something like blue and yellow. Cool, and it stores it over there in color 1 and color 2. All right, so far so good. Now comes the main part of the program where we figure out the resulting color. In fact, we might want to have, we can do this a couple of different ways. We could have another variable to store the resulting color, or we could just output it. I think we'll just output it. All right, so let's write a separate module for that. So I'm going to right click on main again, add procedure. Let's name this something like determine determine color. I don't know. Sounds good. We're going to send in color 1 and color 2. Now we don't need to pass it for output. We just need it for input because we're not going to be changing it. We're not going to be changing the original colors in this procedure probably. All right, so here we have determined color. This is where we're going to have an if statement. And so we have a selection structure over here. And so this selection structure is going to be a little bit more complicated than just a single test, because we have different possibilities. One possibility is that we have a red and blue that makes purple. Another possibility is that we have a red and yellow that makes orange. Another possibility is we have a blue and yellow that makes green. Another possibility is that one of those colors, one or both of the colors, aren't valid primary colors. Another option is that instead of red and blue making purple, we might have blue and red making purple. So the order might be reversed. So we've got to think about all those different possibilities. So it's a little bit more complicated than you might think at first. So let's think about it. Let's put in a selection structure here. And so when we put that in, we have a yes path and a no path. And this is our logical test that evaluates to true or false. So let's see here. Let's, we might have to modify this later if we need to. Let's check for purple first. So I double click on the diamond part, and this is our test. Okay. So we get test to see, and you don't put an if here, you just put the test. So it could be that color 1 is equal to, and I think it works with 2 equal signs. The examples show 1 equal sign, but I think it will also work with 2 equal signs, and that's what most languages use. But we'll test that out. If color 1 is equal to red, and, right, that's one option. Let's see, and color 2 is equal to blue. Okay. We'll come back and modify that a little bit because there's more to it than that. So if color 1 is equal to red and color 2 is equal to blue, if that's true, we can do something like output, put an output statement there. Something like I'm trying to think if I want to have another variable for the result. Let's try that. Instead of outputting it here. Let's see, so if we did it that way, I could have another variable that I declare up here. Or do I want to send that in as a parameter? I'll just do it here. So set color result to the null string. Okay. And so now if I say if color 1 is equal to red and color 2 is equal to blue, I can use an assignment statement here. I can say color result is set color result to purple. Okay. And then later, after my if statement, and we're going to be adding more to the if statement, then I can output my results. So something like a message, the combination of and color 1 plus combination of whatever and plus color 2 plus, the plus is concatenation for strings. Combination of color 1 and color 2 results in plus color result, like that. Okay, I'm going to store that or save that, and back in main, let's go ahead and call this. Call it after you get your input. Determine color is the name of the function. I'm going to send in color 1 and color 2 as parameters. So let's see what happens so far. So if I type in red and blue, it outputs the combination of red and blue results in purple. Cool, so it worked. We might want to clear the console at some point. We can do that right off the bat. Back in main, was it clear console, open and close parentheses. Red, blue. Combination of red and blue results in purple. All right, so that's not it, right? Because what happens if we do other things, like obviously, or what happens if we put blue and red in? The colors are reversed. It says the combination of blue and red results in, and I have nothing. So I need to account for that option. So we can do it a couple different ways, but I would say the easiest way to handle that, if the colors were, if you had two primary colors, but they were in reverse order than what you had it here, we can test for that. So we can make a more complex if statement. So if color 1 is equal to red and color 2 is equal to blue, so put all that in parentheses and then say or, and then reverse them. Or color 1 is equal to blue and color 2 is equal to red. Okay, so we check for both options. If color 1 is equal to red and color 2 is equal to blue, or color 1 is equal to blue and color 2 is equal to red, if either one of those two things are true, we've got purple. So let's test that. Blue and red. So we got purple. The results, the combination is purple. Okay. How about, let's take the next color. So if that's not true, if we don't have red and blue or blue and red, let's check for red and yellow. Okay, so let's have on the no path, if this is false, then on the no path, let's put another selection over here. And we'll do the same thing to check for red and yellow. So I'll check red and yellow first. So if if color 1 is equal to red, and color 2 is equal to yellow, or color 1 is equal to yellow and color 2 is equal to red. Let me read over that and make sure I didn't make a mistake. Okay, so if those are true, if either one of those possibilities is true, then we've got orange. So let's put in an assignment statement over here on the yes path and set color result to orange. All right, so let's save that and test that. So we've got red and yellow. Cool. We have orange. And let's test the other one, yellow and red. And we've got orange again. Very good. All right, so that's another option. But if it doesn't result in purple, it doesn't result in orange, let's test to see if we have a blue-yellow combination that results in green. So we'll do the same thing, put a selection over here on the no path for this guy. So this is a nested if statement, is what we're doing. So we do it the same way. If color 1, let's see, parentheses, if color 1 is equal to blue and yellow, blue and color 2 is equal to yellow, or color 1 is equal to yellow and color 2 is equal to blue, close parentheses, read over that and make sure it's correct. Oh, it's not correct. Missing quotes, so I'm missing a quote someplace. It's up here on the yellow. Okay. So if that's true, then the result on the yes path is to set the color result to green. Color result is set color result to green, in quotes. Okay, so let's run that. So blue and yellow, the result is green. And yellow and blue make green. There you go. Okay, so we're building this up. So that takes care of all the main possibilities there. We could add to this if we wanted to. I mean, it's like, I can't remember all my color things, but if you mix red and white, don't you get like pink or something? I can't remember. But those are the main things that we're supposed to check for. Now, it says, if the user enters anything other than red, blue, or yellow, the program should display an error message. Otherwise, the program should display the name of the secondary color. All right, so on the no path for this guy, let's do something like maybe set the color to unknown. So I'm going to put an assignment over here. Set color result to unknown. And output an error message. Error. You did not enter two primary colors. Combination of error. You did not enter two primary colors. The combination of blue and purple results in unknown. So there you go. So I think that's all that's really required by the instructions here. But we can make some improvements to this as well. One thing that I foresee, what if your user didn't know that they needed to type all lowercase letters? And they did something like typed in blue with a capital B or something like that, yellow. Well, those are no longer going to match, and it says error, you did not enter two primary colors. So I believe that Raptor has functions that'll convert uppercase to lowercase and lowercase to uppercase. And again, if you look at the help file, you can find those. All right, so I looked through the help files and I was not able to find anything about a two upper or two lower function in Raptor. I don't believe there is one in Raptor. But, you know, technically you could write your own. You could use the ASCII values and check the characters and stuff. But we're not going to do that here. That's beyond the scope of this exercise. So anyway. So I think that pretty much covers everything we need to cover here. So the main objective of this exercise was to write a selection structure to check for primary colors and the resulting colors. Oh, one other thing that you could do, if you had two primary colors and that were the same and you mixed them together, obviously you'd get the same color out. So if color 1 and color 2 were both red, for example, you'd get red, right? So technically we could check for that if we wanted to. Again, I think this is kind of beyond the scope of the exercise, but we could throw that in there. So I'm going to save this, and I'll save it with another name. Color mixer 2. So you could throw in maybe another selection structure over here on the no path before this last option. Can I do that? Selection structure. and then these things would go, we'll eventually move these. So let's test to see if color 1 is equal to red and color 2 is also equal to red, then the color result will be red. Set color result to red. And then you could keep going with this on the other selection structures. And again, I'll move this, the last resort, this bottom part down here. We'll move that here in a minute. But if it's not red, then if both things are blue, color 1 is equal to blue, and color 2 is equal to blue. Obviously the result is blue. And the other one was yellow. Have another selection structure on the no path. If color 1 is equal to yellow, and color 2 is equal to yellow, the result is yellow. And then we'll take these statements and move them. Can I just move them over here? There you go. So we have 3 more options here. So if we have a red and yellow combination, we'll get orange. But if we don't, we'll check this. If we have a blue and yellow combination, we'll get green. If we have oh wait, there was one before that. If we have the red and blue combination, we'll get purple. It keeps checking. If they're both red, then we'll get red. If they're both blue, we'll get blue. If they're both yellow, we'll get yellow. But if that's not the case, then at least one of the colors is not a primary color, and we'll get the error message. So let's test that. So let's try blue and blue. The result is blue. But before, if we didn't put that in there, we wouldn't get blue as a result. Yellow and yellow. Right. And let's check the blue and white. We get the error message. Okay. So there you go. So that's one way we could expand it a little bit. All right, I think that's just about all we need to do here. So hopefully that helps you with creating if statements and selection structures in Raptor.